So for class 2, we're going to work on some side bending. And we're going to start lying down on our backs, feet far apart, arms away from the body, palms facing up. You can pick up the pelvis and tuck it under and lower your pelvis back down, keeping your back long. And then slide your shoulders away from your ears, palms facing up. And then tuck your chin in gently toward the chest. And we'll take some long, deep breaths, filling up toward the belly. You might want to put the hand on the upper belly. Slowly inhaling, filling the bottom of the lungs. Releasing the air again slowly until it's all gone. Again, inhale, fill the belly. And exhale, release. So we're not actually filling the belly, we're filling the bottom of the lungs, which pushes the diaphragm down on the organs. Organs rise. And then as you exhale, the diaphragm moves back up into the rib cage and the belly and organs fall back. And this is a massaging of the organs. It's helping you release toxins. It's putting things back in their proper alignment. Tension can make things get misplaced. So when we do this exercise, we're helping things come back into their rightful order. Still filling the bottom of the lungs. Exhale, slowly release. For the next inhalation, we're going to fill the sides. So keep the belly being the first place to fill. But then you can place the hands on the bottom side ribs, then start to fill the sides. So fill the front and the sides. Exhale, release. And again, inhale, fill the front, then the sides. Exhale, release. Continue this for a few more breaths. And then if this is moving well, you can slip the hands under the low back, just a little bit higher, and so that the backs of your hands can touch the bottom of your back ribs. And now as you inhale, fill the front first, then the sides, and then the back. Exhale slowly, releasing the air. Again, filling the front, the sides, and the back. Exhale slowly. Again, front, sides, and back. Exhale, releasing. Let's do this one more time. Filling the front, sides, back. And release. Bring the hands out from underneath you and bring them up over the head. So you're going to lay them on the floor above the head. You might need a little support under your forearms if your shoulders are tight. We're going to walk all the limbs to the right side. So let's start with the feet. Walk both your feet to the right side of your mat. And then lift your upper body and sweep it to the right as well. So you're going to look like a banana. Now your left shoulder may need support. So I'd get a blanket or a block or a pillow and put it under your left forearm. This is going to allow that left shoulder to release. Your right arm really doesn't matter what's happening there. So you can even lower it down by your side if you like. We're looking for a side bend on the left side. Now, most people hold their feet together here. So instead, let your feet drop out to the sides, keeping them to the right side of the mat. Let your left hip drop down. Keep relaxing the left shoulder. You can start by breathing into the left side of the lungs. Make sure the jaw is relaxed. You can close the eyes, let the eyes be heavy in their sockets. Keep relaxing down onto the floor in this position. Let the arms be heavy. Let go of any holding in the hands. Still filling the left side of the lungs with the breath all the way from the bottom rib to the underarm. Now, if you'd like to take the side bend a little bit deeper, you can cross the left ankle over the right. Now, if you're struggling to stay here in a relaxed way, bring your feet a little closer to center and then see if you can relax. If not, then uncross the left leg back to where you were before. We'll be here for a few minutes. Continue breathing into the left side, relaxing the low back to the mat. Following the breath all the way into the top. And staying with the breath as it leaves you all the way to the bottom. Staying with that breath. Allow the left shoulder to soften. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. Really feel that left side. Like you're breathing the lungs into the rib cage. As you exhale, squeeze the belly button toward the spine, press the low back to the mat, uncross the left foot, bring it back to the left side, lift the upper body, sweep it to center, and lower the arms for a few breaths. Now continue breathing deeply, filling both sides of the lungs. And try to fill them evenly and see what's happening in there. Can you feel a difference between the right and left lung when you take a deep breath? It's very likely that you do. So now we're going to move to the other side. Draw the navel to the spine, low back to the floor. Bring the arms over the head, the right foot to the left foot, and the upper body over to the left side of the mat. Continue breathing fully. Now we're directing the breath a little bit more into the right lung. You may need a support under your right arm, depending on how tight your right shoulder is. And since we're here for a while, it's a good idea to do it if you're feeling even the tiniest bit of discomfort in the right shoulder. And let the right hip drop down. Let the right arm be heavy on the block or blanket or the floor, releasing through the right shoulder. Check that the jaw is relaxed. And take long, deep breaths. Follow the breath all the way into the top and all the way out to the bottom. And by now you may want to come in a little deeper. You can cross the right ankle over the left. If that's uncomfortable, slide the feet just a little closer to the center of the mat, just a teeny bit. Or you can go back to where you were a moment ago. Breathing so deeply you can feel the lungs pressing into the right rib cage. Breathing all the way up toward the right armpit. Breathing as deeply as you can into the right side for about 5 more full breaths. As you exhale, draw the belly button to the spine, low back press down to the mat, bring the right foot back to the right side, pick up the upper body, come back to center, and lower the arms down by your sides. Now breathe into both sides of the lungs as fully as you can. So from here, we're going to draw the navel down toward the spine, bring the knees into the chest and give them a hug. Take your time. You can rock from side to side. And then place the hands on top of the knees, and we'll make circles with the hands moving the knees in the same direction. And then in the opposite direction. Okay, good. Now place the hands on the thighs with the fingers at the knees. Press the low back down into the floor, so you're kind of like tucking your pelvis. Now push your legs away, but don't let your legs go anywhere. So push and resist. Inhale, release. Exhale, push and resist. Inhale, release. Remember, the legs aren't moving at all. Push them and release. Exhale, push, legs push back. And release. Inhale. As you push, press the low back to the floor. Push. And release. Inhale. Exhale, push the legs. Push, 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 push. And release. Inhale. This time push as hard as you can for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hug the knees in. So we're not quite done. Bring the knees back up over the waistline, hands on the knees again. Now you're going to swing your knees to the right, just enough that you don't tip over. And then you're going to push your legs away and resist here in this angle. Push and release. Inhale. Exhale, push to the right. Release, inhale. Exhale, pushing a little harder. Release, inhale. Exhale, pushing the legs even harder. Release, inhale. Last one on this side. Push as hard as you can. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bring the knees to the chest. Give them a hug. Okay, hands on the knees. Bring the knees to the left side just before you tip over. And exhale, push the legs, legs resist. Inhale, release. Exhale, push. Inhale, release. Exhale, push. Inhale, release. Pushing harder. And release. Pushing even harder. Release, inhale. Last one, pushing as hard as you can. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hug the knees back to the chest. You can rock a little bit here. Okay. So we're going to do something a little bit different this time. It looks the same as what we did last time, but it's not. Extend the heels to the ceiling. Let's start by flexing the feet and separating the toes. And you can also massage the backs of the legs with the hands. We'll be here for a couple of breaths. Keep separating the toes. Try to get even amount of space between them. And then point the toes to the ceiling. And then flex the feet, separate the toes. And then point the toes. And again, flex the feet, separate the toes. And then point the toes. Part the feet a little bit and we'll make big circles with the feet, making the ankles rotate. Big circles. You can hold your legs and your knees do not have to be straight. So their abdominal muscles don't have to work here. Now let's rotate the ankles in the opposite direction. And you can do this with the feet down on the floor too, with the legs extended on the mat. But we're going to be doing a little exercise now. Place the hands on the floor and press the palms down into the mat. Now keep your knees bent a little bit. Okay, now you're going to lower the right leg down toward the end of the mat as far as you feel comfortable going, and then inhale back up. You don't have to keep the knees bent, but it's a good place to start. If you keep them bent, they're not as heavy. Bring them back up. If you want to make it a little harder, straighten the leg. Bring it all the way down. Keep your low back pressed to the floor and up. And we'll switch the legs. Left going down. Inhale up. Right going down. Inhale up. Left down and up. And right down and up. Left one more time. Down and up. Now, you might not want to do double leg, or you might want to try. So continue with single leg if you're not comfortable with the double leg. Press the low back into the floor. You can bend the knees a little bit to make this a little bit less challenging to start. You're going to lower the legs toward the floor and inhale back up. Now you don't want the low back to lift off the mat. So as soon as you feel it lifting, stop and go back in the opposite direction. And up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Remember, the legs don't have to go all the way. Exhale down. Inhale up. One more. Down and up. Hug the knees to the chest. You can rock a little bit from side to side. So today I'm going to introduce you to plow pose. Now plow is a little bit, I would say it might be something you wouldn't have thought of doing in a long, long time. So I'm going to give you some alternatives if this doesn't feel good in your body. Now I'll have to warn you, if you have neck injury, this isn't for you. If you've had a recent eye surgery, same thing. Okay, so you should have nothing under the head for this. So if you do have something under the head, move it out of the way. Now, you're going to just listen. There are alternatives, so don't get too concerned, okay? You're going to press the hands into the floor. You're going to lift the hips up over the chest, bring the hands onto the back. Okay, this is plow. Now, I'll show you the alternative. You come close to a wall or a couch. And you bring your feet onto that surface and you lift the hips up. You put your hands under your pelvis, okay? This is one alternative. Another alternative, especially for those whose neck does not feel good here, you can put a block under your pelvis. So lift your pelvis, put the block under, and then lift the legs. This is another alternative. So let's pick one, okay? If this is where you want to start today, start here. If you don't have a block, roll a blanket up or add a few blankets on top of each other, okay? Legs up the wall or up the couch is also a nice alternative. Those of you who would like to go into plow, swing the legs up over the head, hands onto the back, shimmy the shoulders and elbows closer together. Keep the face facing up now. Don't look at the computer anymore. Palms flat on the back, fingers pointing up. Relax the jaw. Keep the weight of your body in your elbows. Okay? Feet do not have to touch down. So we're going to be here for just a couple of breaths to start. And then bring the hands back to the floor and roll out. If you have a block underneath you, take it out. Bring the knees into the chest, give them a hug. All right, so plow is kind of like it's a very important pose. Let's just put it that way. It gets a lot of things taken care of. The neck, the back, the hamstrings. It brings blood to the head, nourishes the brain. It calms the nervous system. It really is one of the most important poses. So it also has a counter pose, which is what we're going to do next. Now, bring your feet back to the floor. Extend them to the end of the mat. Now, if you have a wrist, elbow, or shoulder injury, this might be a bit of a challenge. And so in that case, you would have the arms outside of the body. But if that's not the case, you're going to lift the right side of your body, tuck your right arm underneath you, and then roll onto the right arm and tuck the left arm underneath you. So your hands and elbows are underneath you. Then you're going to rise up onto your elbows and look at your toes. All the way up, chest up. Lift the chest, bring the top of the head to the floor. The arms are holding you up. The head is just gently resting down. Take a couple of breaths into the chest as you pull the shoulders back. So this is fish. You can see how this is a counter pose to the plow. Lift the head, look at the toes, and roll out. Remove your hands and lay flat on your back in corpse pose or shavasana. Take a few deep breaths. All right. Now we're going to bend the knees, place the feet on the floor. You want the feet to be approximately thigh bone width apart. So however far apart your thighs are when they come out from the hip socket is about the position your feet will be in. And the toes are pointing straight forward. Press the hands down into the floor beside your body. Tuck the pelvis under. Lift the pelvis up and point your tailbone toward your knees. And then roll down one vertebra at a time. We'll do this a couple of times. With the breath, inhale, lifting up. Exhale, coming down. Now that can also be reversed. So if you find inhaling coming down easier, then do that. But make sure you're breathing one way up and one way down. So you're tucking the pelvis and lifting one vertebra at a time off the mat. And then when you come down, you're going in the opposite direction, starting at the upper back, mid back, low back, and pelvis touches down. Do this a couple more times. Tuck the pelvis and lift. Inhale. And roll down as you exhale. Pelvis is the last thing down. Last one, tuck the pelvis, press into the feet and lift up. Now we're going to stay up. See if you can interlace the fingers underneath your back and shimmy the shoulders underneath you closer together. Keep pressing into the feet and lift the hips. Head faces straight up, so stop looking at the screen. And tuck the chin in toward the chest and breathe. Eventually we're going to lift the leg, but right now we're going to lean more into one leg and then come back to both feet pressing into the floor and then lean more into the other leg. Maybe even lift the heel. Right, come down, we'll do that again. Lean to the right leg, lift the left heel and come down with the left heel. Lean to the left, lift the right heel and back. All right, release the hands, roll out one vertebra at a time. Part the feet wide on the mat. We're going to let the knees sway over to the right. And come back to center, sway the knees to the left. And again, back up to center and to the right. And up. And the left. And up. Okay, hug the knees into the chest. And then we're coming into happy baby. Grab the feet if you can. If not, grab the ankles or the shins. If you can, the outer edge of the feet. And pull the knees open on either side of the body. So the inner legs are releasing. Okay, the knees are bending toward the floor, but the soles of the feet are facing the ceiling. Grab your feet or your ankles and open the knees around the body. Just think about a baby in a stroller, how they're holding on to their feet. You can rock a little bit from side to side. The idea is to open up the inner legs. So if you're unable to hold your feet, grab onto your knees and pull them open wide. Okay, good. Now hug under your knees and we're going to roll forward and back along the length of the spine. We'll do this a few times. Hopefully it's comfortable where you are. If not, then don't do this part and we'll meet at the top. So rounding the back, curling the spine. And then we'll come up into little boat. Now you can put your hands behind you as well if balance is a challenge. And sometimes it is. But if you're able to balance here and you're able to hold your legs up, maybe you can let go of the legs and reach the arms forward. Keep breathing and smiling. All right, now we're going to reach the arms to the right. Now if you're holding the floor, you're not doing that, obviously. And then reach the arms to the left, and the right, and the left, and come back to center, and then we're going to come to sit upright. So you want to sit up on something. I like using a folded blanket, but maybe a block or a pillow will work just as well for you. Okay, so let's sit up tall. Now the idea, remember we talked about the pelvis tilt and all that, you want to be kind of falling forward off of what you're sitting on. You don't want to be leaning back. So whatever is behind you and underneath you is high enough to tip you forward. If your legs don't do this well or comfortably, you can always sit up in hero's pose with a block between the feet and you sit on the block. Okay, so this is another option. Also, you can sit in a chair or on the couch, whatever works for you. The legs don't have to stay crossed. You can also extend a leg or both legs. Okay, so we're sitting up tall and we're going to take a few deep breaths. Now we've practiced breathing lying down, but we haven't done it seated yet. So bring your hand to your upper belly. Now, as you inhale, breathe into where the hand is resting. Now, it's common for uncomfortable feelings to arise when we start to work with the breath. We're reaching into places where we've held before, and we've held because of whatever experience we were having at the time that we didn't want to breathe through. Either it was painful or scary, or you had some anger, or whatever it was. When we breathe, we're forcing the release of this stuff, which sometimes reawakens the feeling. So go at it very slowly and gently. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, but the goal is to cleanse this, okay? So whenever you have a chance, especially before bed or first thing in the morning when you're lying down, breathe deeply into this area that the hand is on now. Let's take a couple more breaths. Okay, you can bring the hand down. We'll work a little bit on loosening up the neck now. We did do a plow, but not all of us were in the full plow. So let's drop the chin down toward the chest. Keep the chest lifted, but the head fully dropped. And so the spine is as erect as it can be, but the head is fully relaxing forward. Breathe into the upper back. Okay, you can bring your chin now to the right collarbone and let the nose drop down toward the right thigh. So you're on an angle, but the head is still dropped forward as far as it can go. Breathing into the upper back. Okay, let's swing the right ear over the right shoulder, face facing forward. So right ear over right shoulder. Spine is lifted tall, shoulders are relaxed, jaw is relaxed. You can even say ah. And just by loosening the jaw, you'll start to feel the neck release even more. Deep breaths into the upper left side of the chest right now, if you can direct it there. Now, while we're here, you can stay just like this, or you can rotate the head to look up. Like you're putting the back of your head on your right shoulder. And then you can rotate the head, bringing the chin toward the shoulder. Keep breathing fully. And then rotate the head back up. And down. And then release the chin back to the chest. We'll take a deep breath into the upper back. Keep the chest lifted and the head dropped forward. Okay, so from here you can bring the chin to the left collarbone, nose dropping down toward the left thigh. Taking deep breaths into the upper back. And now let's bring the left ear over the left shoulder. Still pulling up tall through the spine. Let the head relax over the left shoulder. Jaw soft. Breathing deeply toward the right shoulder. Maybe you'd like to rotate the head up now. So like you're laying your back of your head on your left shoulder. And then rotate the head down, bringing the chin to the left shoulder. And then rotate the head back up. And down. And then swing the head back to center, chin to chest. Take a deep breath here. Inhale, right ear over right shoulder. Exhale, chin back to chest. Inhale, left ear over left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale over right. Exhale down. Inhale over left. And exhale down. And slowly lift the head back up. Keeping up tall through the spine. Look over the right shoulder. Deep breath. Exhale, center. Look over the left shoulder. Inhale. Then exhale, center. One more time over the right. Center. And left. And center. Okay. So we're going to change our leg position. We're going to bring the soles of our feet together now. Some of you may like to have extra support, like putting a rolled blanket or a block, sorry for the noise, or a block under the knees. Okay, so this is one way to support the legs. It's not absolutely necessary. Maybe you don't feel like you need it. All right, so first we're going to lean forward. Now place the hands on the floor in front of you. And very slowly start to lean forward. As soon as you feel the first place of resistance, stop. Stay and breathe. Keep letting go through the inner leg. If the body gives, you can walk the hands forward a little more. But if it doesn't, stay where you are. Continue relaxing through the hips and breathing deeply. If and when the legs release or the hips release, you can come forward even more. This is not something to rush. Okay, maybe you're not going anywhere. Maybe you're just seated upright and you're trying to do your best just to let the legs drop. Deep breaths. And then slowly come on up. Okay, so now we're placing the left hand down on the floor beside you to the left. Reach the right arm up over and you're going to lean over. Now don't lift, don't lean this way by lifting your sit bone. Use the right hand to support you. Press into the hand so that press into the left hand so the right sit bone presses into the floor. And then reach that right arm over the head. Rotate the chest upwards slightly. Relax the legs and breathe. Okay, now you're going to rotate the chest down toward your right leg. Walk your hands across back to center and roll up. Okay, then we're going to place the right hand down. Lift the left arm over the head. Press into the right hand, pushing the left sit bone down into the floor. So both sit bones are grounded. If you can, bending over to the right side. If this arm is like really not having it, you can always hold the head. Sometimes that can help. Taking deep breaths. Just going as far as it feels comfortable. You don't have to match what I'm doing. Just reach and try to make a curve with the spine. And you're also rotating the chest up. Deep breaths into that left side. And then rotate the chest down to face the right knee and sweep across to center and roll up. Okay, so we've done that. Now we're going to open the legs wide. You can stay seated on whatever you're seated on, like a blanket or a block, or you can come flat to the floor. Now, it isn't necessary to have the legs wide open, okay? You want them as open as you're able to stay in a relaxed, comfortable state. Now, that doesn't mean you're not feeling stretch, but we don't want to overdo it. So we're going to start by placing the hands on the floor behind you. Press into the floor, lift the chest. And we'll start here, taking deep breaths. Walk the hands close to the buttocks, lift the chest. Relax the inner legs. So some people wonder why we need to open this area. You need to open all areas. You can't neglect one. So this one happens to be one of the hardest. If we were open in the outer edge of the hip and not the inner edge of the hip, we would start to have an imbalance in the way that the hip joint worked. And that would cause friction, rotation of the legs inward, which might affect the knees and the feet. You might have fallen arches. So all of these things that we're doing are to help keep everything in alignment. Now, if this is okay and you're ready to move forward, bring the hands in front of you. If you're not feeling that that's a good idea, stay where you are. And then you can start to walk the hands a little bit more forward. First place of resistance, stop and breathe. Now, I'll remind you, I've been doing this since I was a child, so you don't need to feel that you need to keep up with the openness. The goal of the practice is just to release tension and become a little more flexible than what you're at right now. If there's a release, you can walk the hands forward a little bit more. The feet can stay relaxed, as well as the ankles. Just a few more breaths. And then slowly come on up. Okay, so we're coming back into a cross-legged position. If you have come off of sitting on something, you might want to put it back underneath you. Place your hands on your knees. And we're going to pull our chest forward and look up. So use your knees as something to grip against. With your hands, pull the chest forward. Look up, take a deep breath. Exhale, round and curl the spine. Inhale, arch and look up. Exhale, round and curl. Inhale, arch and look up. Exhale, round and curl. And come back to neutral. Right hand on the left knee, left hand behind you, press down into the floor with that left hand, lift the chest, exhale, twist to look back. Take a deep breath. Slowly return to center. Left hand on the right knee, right hand behind you, inhale, lift. Exhale, twist to look back. Take a deep breath. Come back to center. Bring the hands together behind the back. Interlace them. Lift them up and back and open the chest, chin up. Deep breaths into the chest. And release. Bring the arms in front of you, crossing them and hugging yourself. So see if you can reach back for your shoulder blades. If not, that's okay. Don't force anything, but relax the shoulders down. Take a few deep breaths between the shoulder blades. You can even drop your chin here. and release the arms. Okay, so today we're going to do deer pose. Now, some of the poses I'm giving you can be held for longer, and we would call that yin. But all the poses can be done for a shorter period of time so that you start to get the body used to opening up in certain ways. So you'll need a blanket. We're going to start with the right leg bent with the shin parallel to the top of the mat. The left leg is also bent, but the thigh is parallel to the shin that's also parallel to the top of the mat. You might need a folded blanket under your left knee. Okay, so you can face forward if your mat is facing another angle, but just have the right shin and the left thigh parallel. Place something in front of you that you can lean on, like a block or a folded blanket, something that you can lean on. We're going to lean toward the right knee. Okay, so we're going to come forward and lean toward that knee. If you don't have blocks, use books or a stool, right, okay? So you're leaning toward the right knee now. That's it. And your foot is straight out to the side because your shin is parallel to the top of the mat. So this is like a precursor to pigeon, but it is really a different type of opening for the hip as well. So this is a hip opener. We'll be here for about 1.5 minutes, taking deep breaths. Now, if you're feeling like you can go further, you can remove what you're leaning on or lower it down and lean down even more. But this is not, a race. You don't have to get into any particular position right off the bat. Just take your time. Ease in slowly. Continue breathing. So, Gabrielle, I think maybe if your knee hurts you here, you have the option of bending this foot in towards your body a little bit more. Is it the other knee that's hurting? You can do this in a more mild way, in other words. Yeah. And alternatively, if this is just not working for you, you can come to lie down on your back and pull your right leg in toward you like this. Okay? So that you're holding your knee in your right hand and your foot in your left hand. Okay, so this is an alternative. We're not here much longer. Let's take about 3 more deep breaths. Then Gabriella, you can hang out there just a little bit longer in that position. All right, let's come on up. Place the hands behind you. We're going to windshield wipe the legs. So you're just going to sweep them to one side. Gabriella, stay on your back. You're fine. You're going to switch legs in just a minute. Yeah. Okay. Now, whenever you're ready, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So now your left shin is parallel to the top of the mat. Your right thigh is parallel to those. You've got something in front of you to lean on. You might need a blanket underneath your right knee. And then you lean toward the left knee. And then we'll be here for a little while, taking deep breaths. Again, if this doesn't work for your knees, you can always lie on your back. and pull that left shin toward your chest. Take a few more breaths. And then come on up. Bring the hands behind you. We'll windshield wipe the legs again. Sweeping the legs over to one side and then the other. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of work for the back side of the body. Come to sit with your legs extended in front of you and your hands behind you, fingers pointing in. Now, you can do this with the knees bent or straight, but actually we're going to start with the knees bent today. So feet are parallel, pointing, toes pointing forward. You're going to press into the feet and lift the pelvis up. Okay, once you're up, you're going to lift one leg, put it down, other leg, put it down. Again, right leg up, down, left, and down. Now stay up. Now you're going to bend your arms and come back up. Again, bend your arms and up. Bend again and up. Bend and up one more time. This is good for the triceps. And up. Squeeze the butt up and lift for about one more breath. And then slowly lower down. Okay, that was pretty good. Extend the legs out in front of you. Point the toes. We do not need to force this to happen. If it doesn't come easily, let's go back to bent knees, okay? Legs are extended. You're going to press into the heels, lift the pelvis up, and bring it back down. Okay, it's a bit of a exercise for the low back, so be mindful of that, okay? Lift up and lower down. You can do this with the knees bent. So go back to this if this is bothering your back. Lift up and down. We'll do it one more time. Up and down. Very good. Okay, now we're going to come onto the back. You might want to have a pillow. We're going to start by hugging the knees back into the chest, rocking from side to side. Okay, place the feet back on the floor with the knees bent. Cross the right ankle over the left knee. Right ankle over left knee. Now, or thigh. Now slide your right hand through the legs, so between the legs, and bring your left knee toward you. Clasp hold of your left knee with your both hands. And we're coming into what we call keyhole. So this is going to open up the glutes. It's different than the deer pose, which when we were in deer pose, is a little bit more the outer edge of the hip. Now we're getting more into the glutes, which is closer to the sacrum and the sit bones. So we'll be here for a little while, breathing deeply, pulling that left knee in with the right ankle over top. Now, some of you may not easily be able to do this, and in that case, you're going to put a block on the mat under your left foot, and that way you've got a prop pushing your legs up, and you don't have to struggle holding your legs coming into the chest. So if you're really tight through the hip, this may be the right option for you. Alternatively, you can put your foot on the wall or the couch, and this will help as well. So for right now, see which way works. We're going to be here still for about another minute and a half, taking deep breaths. Now, something to consider, you know, when you exercise, you feel the soreness afterward. It's the same with stretching because you're doing the same thing to the muscle cells and the connective tissue. You're moving and changing the structure. You're either separating them, or you're dividing the cells, or you're demanding them to grow more. When you stretch, you're demanding the connective tissue to, or asking it to, create more cells in this lengthened position. So you often feel sore, like you had a workout when we've done some stretching. And this is okay for, normally it's up to about 48 hours you feel it. After that, you should be in a new state. So let's take 3 more deep breaths. All right, then we'll undo the legs, bring the feet back to the floor for a moment. Now cross the left ankle over the right knee, reach through with the left hand, reach through the legs, grab hold of your right knee, pull it in toward your chest. Again, if this doesn't work easily, you can always put a block under your right foot and then put the left foot on top of the thigh and let that work for you. Keep taking deep breaths. A few more breaths here. All right, let's release the legs and hug them both into the chest. And then we'll lower the legs down to the left side of the mat, opening up the right shoulder to the floor. You can use your left hand to hold on to your right knee, keeping it up at about waist or hip height. Relax the feet down. Relax the right arm and shoulder down. And take deep breaths. So we're in a twist. The legs are laying on the floor on the left side of the mat. And the right arm is laying on the floor on the right side of the mat. Let's take a few more deep breaths. Let's draw the belly button toward the spine. Bring the knees right back into the chest. Give them a hug as you roll onto your back. And then when you're ready, lower the legs down to the right side and let the left shoulder drop down to the floor on the left side of the mat. You can hold the left knee with the right hand, keeping it in place, relaxing the limbs down onto the floor, breathing deeply into the back. Take a few more deep breaths. Draw the belly button toward the spine. Bring the knees right back into the chest as you roll onto your back. Hug them in. And today we're going to finish off in Shavasana. So you can extend the legs toward the end of the mat. If you feel like you need to have your knees bent and your feet on the floor, you can do that as well. So either knees bent, feet on the floor, or legs extended to the end of the mat. Open up the arms, palms facing up. Tuck your chin in toward the chest. Slide the shoulders down away from the ears. Feel the full weight of the body resting down. Relax the face. Soften the jaw, allowing the upper and lower teeth to separate. Allow the eyes to be heavy in their sockets. Allow the legs to be heavy. Arms resting down completely. Softening the belly, allowing the organs to sink back. Pay attention to the breath, following it all the way in and all the way out. Relaxing down for just a few more breaths. Start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Rock the head gently from one side to the other. Bend the knees, place the feet on the floor. And then hug the knees into the chest one more time. When you're ready, we'll roll over to one side. We'll pause here for a couple of breaths. And then roll forward a little more. Press down into the hands. Let the head hang as you roll up. Coming to a comfortable seated position. So today let's bring the hands together at the heart. Thumbs pressing against the breastbone, sitting up tall. Take a deep breath in and out. Let's breathe in again fully. One more time. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti means peace. Namaste.